Hey there, it is Vlogmas Day 1 and I'm so excited that you're here with me today and that we are getting started on this fun journey. And I have two really cute patterns available for you guys today that we're going to be making together. So the first one is going to be a free pattern on Instagram and it is an adorable snowman hanger. We're going to be making that together with some chenille yarn. And then I also am going to be working on a pattern test today for an adorable Christmas tree gnome that I thought you could do with me. And then if you like it, you can go out and purchase the pattern. And if you are new here, my name is Tasha and I run a crochet channel. I have a small business where I sell crochet plushies at markets and on Etsy. And this is just a fun part of doing this channel is Vlogmas, and I did it last year and then this is my second year and I absolutely love it. First, we're going to be making the snowman car hanger that I'm super excited about, and I know I'm going to want to make a ton of them for my market that's coming up. So I'm going to grab some white chenille yarn and some red chenille yarn, and let's see what other colors I'm going to need. Maybe some black for the hat. I can either do it with a hat or without a hat, and then possibly orange for the nose. I do have plastic snowman noses, so I can use that. Everything that I use, all of the patterns, everything will be linked down below in the description, and let's go ahead and get started. For this pattern, you guys can feel comfortable using whatever color that you would like. For the scarf and the hat, I actually just saw a gray yarn that would be really cute for the hat, but I think I'm going to go ahead and use black. I'm going to be using Knotty Pony yarn. Don't be discouraged or dismayed by my white yarn that's in a total knot. It's going to be okay. And then I also have Knotty Pony yarn in black, and then I have green. So those are the three colors I'm going to use. I'm going to show you the orange snowman noses that I purchased that are awesome. They come in a little pack like this, and there's a bunch of different sizes. Once my snowman is made and I kind of check out the size of the snowman, I can kind of decide if I want like one curved like this, or there are even some snowman noses in here like this. And they go all the way down to really, really tiny ones like this. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The pattern has, it looks like 2 balls. It looks like a crocheted scarf and then a little hat that I'm probably going to sew on in the back. So I'm going to be using a 4.5mm hook. It's what I typically use for chenille yarn. And I just feel like it gives me a really nice tight stitch. So we're going to go ahead and get started, but this pattern is by Little Stitch Spells, and she has a bunch of free patterns on her Instagram, so make sure that you go and check her out. But let's go ahead and get started with the snowman. So I've made the base of the snowman and it's looking a little bit like this. I can tell it's going to be a perfect car hanger size. I've been thinking about the car hanger part that actually goes over your mirror or wherever you want to hang it. And I'm really considering doing a different color than white. In the picture, she's using white, but I'm thinking that might get dirty depending on where you're hanging it. And so I may want it to make it in black, or maybe even the color of the scarf might be nice as well. So I thought I have a few rows here where I'm just crocheting around where I don't really have to think for a minute, but I was thinking of sharing some of my like special memories from childhood with you guys. When I was growing up, I lived in Oklahoma. That's where I was born. And when I was 4 years old, my parents moved my sisters and I to California because my dad was going into construction. And we lived up in the mountains near Morgan Hill. So most people aren't familiar with that town, but it's a beautiful place to live. And we lived in the mountains overlooking this huge lake. And that was probably the best Christmases that I remember as a kid. There weren't any houses nearby. It was just us. So I remember like traipsing through the woods with my sisters, just going on adventures. And one of my favorite memories was going to a Christmas tree farm and cutting down our Christmas tree. After we lived in Morgan Hill, we lived in a different town and there weren't any Christmas tree farms nearby. And so after that, we just like purchased a Christmas tree. But I just remember those years of like cutting down the Christmas tree, and we would go, this is so funny, we would go to like a Dairy Queen or maybe like a I'm not sure if it was a Dairy Queen or some kind of a diner. And we would get cheeseburgers, French fries, milkshakes, and then we would also stop at an apple farm and get apple cider, and then we would go and cut down the Christmas tree. I have such fond memories of that. And then my parents would leave the tree outside because they told us that there would be crickets inside the tree, and so they would leave it outside and like shake it out for a couple of days to make sure there weren't any like creatures inside of it. And my sisters and I had such a hard time not bringing the tree inside and decorating it right away. We just wanted to bring it right in, creatures and all, and like decorate it. But yeah, that was a really, really fun memory for me. Now that I live in Maine, I feel like I'm going back to that again, where I live in a place where I can actually cut a Christmas tree down, feel the 4 seasons, and just go to apple tree farms. And I just absolutely love it. So what about you? Where you live, do you have like a tradition or something that your family does, or that something maybe from childhood that you remember that's like a fond memory for you that you would like to go back to? I think it's those like childhood Christmas memories that build the foundation of why we love Christmas so much, and like the decorating and whatever your parents did with you. You just kind of go back to that. At least I do. I'm on the last row of single crochets all the way around, and now I'm getting ready to start decreasing the first ball. There's going to be 2 balls together, and then we will be adding the eyeballs and the nose. The creator of this pattern recommends using an 8mm eye. I don't have 8, but I do have 9, so that's going to be very, very similar. This is a 9mm eye. It's super tiny. I typically don't like to use eyes that are this small just because they so easily fall through. You can do different things. I've seen people like burn the end of the eye so that it is a little bit more secure. You can also hot glue them in. So do whatever works for you. I even saw one creator who uses a little piece of paper between the eye and the back, and that seems to stabilize it a little bit. But I'll show you guys what it looks like with the 9mm eyes, and then you can kind of decide what look that you would like for your snowman. And if you want your snowman to have bigger eyes, use bigger eyes. It's your snowman. Do what you want with it. But this is what it looks like with 9mm eyes. I personally feel like this is too small. I'm gonna go ahead and snap the backs on, and then we will pick out our nose. It might be kind of cute to do an embroidered nose, but I'm gonna grab the plastic noses and then we'll just kind of see how that looks. Already I'm looking at the 9mm eye, and it already feels like it's falling inside the yarn. But we'll just see. I think I have also 10mm eyes. I may want to try that out. Or maybe not do my eye so tight. So you can see they kind of fell inside the yarn a little bit. I don't really like that. I think I might try a 10mm yarn. Hold on. I went ahead and switched to the 10mm, and you guys, this is so much better. They were just falling inside. So we're gonna go with the 10mm, but you do whatever works for you. If you want to use 8s or 9s, do that. Or even embroidery. You could embroider the eyes, and I think they would look really, really nice. Okay, I am just stuffing the head. I am trying to get it nice and round, because that's the whole idea, is that it looks like a snowball. And then I did notice that my noses, I've only used these a couple of times, but they don't attach, like they don't have backs. So they will need to be hot glued. So I just plugged my hot glue gun in, but this is what it's gonna look like when it's in. My hot glue gun is heating up. Now I'm going to go ahead and start increasing into the next ball. I am just adding the last little bit of stuffing to the ball of my snowman just to make sure that he is nice and round. And the eyes are looking a little crooked, but they're okay. And now we're going to be cinching the bottom so that we can close up that ball. And then it's time to start working on some of the details that make this a snowman. Now, worst case scenario, if I look at this and the eye looks really, really different, I will pull it out and I will hot glue it. So I'm gonna go add the nose now, and then I will meet you back here in a minute. Look at this little snowman. He is getting so cute. And yes, don't get upset, but I did move the eye. I just couldn't take it anymore. But I took it out and I hot glued it in the right place. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add some buttons and start working on the scarf. This is just a little tip. When I added the buttons, it said to do them 1 stitch. I did 2, like 2 across for each one. And then I also went over it 2 times because I wasn't really seeing the button very well. And so I went over it twice just to make sure. I chose green for my scarf, which I think is going to be super cute. I saw one girl on Instagram who set up a snowman decorating station where the kids or whoever's purchasing it can choose a snowman, and then they can choose like a hat or a scarf, and then they like dress their snowman. I thought that was really, really cute. So this pattern actually has a top hat, a Santa hat, and a scarf, which is really, really cute. So you can kind of decide how you're going to do your snowman, and you can kind of do them all differently, or you can sew the details on so that they can all be a little bit different. So I think for this one, I'm going to do the top hat, and then I'm going to do the scarf. I like the top hat because in January, February, this snowman would still be, it'd be great to purchase. But if I put a Santa hat on it, I don't know if somebody in January, February would still want to purchase it. Here's my little snowman hat, super cute. And she says to just kind of poke it down a little bit right here so that it is a little bit flatter. And then she suggests that you hot glue it on the head, or you can sew it on the head, whichever you feel like doing. I can see why hot gluing might work because that black yarn would want to bleed all over that white yarn, but I'm gonna go ahead and try it and see what happens and then get started on the scarf. But I think he's turning out so cute. I would not recommend sewing. I tried that, I almost destroyed the hat. I went ahead and hot glued it on. Now time to start on the scarf. My snowman is all done. One little tip, I added an extra little chain here to make his scarf have 2 little pieces. I think that looks a little cuter, but this little guy's done. He took me quite a long time for such a tiny little character, but I think it's just so fiddly with the little tiny pieces. But he is gonna be so cute. I need to make his swing, so I'll make that, and then we'll be all done with the snowman and ready to move on to our gnome. All done. I decided on the white because it matched the snowman. I couldn't go any other way. But here he is, guys, our little car swinger snowman. Go out and make yourself one. I will link everything down below for you guys if you want to make your own. Next, we're going to start working on my pattern test, which I'm super excited about. And the pattern test, I will do some check-ins with you, but I do have to look at the pattern pretty closely and do like counts and stuff to make sure that I'm catching any mistakes there might be. But I thought taking you guys along with me, you might want to go out and buy this pattern so you can kind of get my thoughts on it and decide if it's something that you want to make. The colors I've chosen are this really pretty sparkle yarn. I'm doing this gnome in Bernat. So I'm using this sparkle yarn for the Christmas tree part, and then the skin color, I'm going to use this one. I definitely want to make another one another day in a darker skin tone. And then the little star is going to be this mustard color. And then I noticed on the shirt that the sleeves are striped. So I thought it would be great for Christmas to do these two. I thought about doing white and green stripes, but then I feel like that might not show up as much, and this is so cute together. So we're gonna go ahead and do these together, and I will do check-ins and show you guys my progress. And I'm so excited to get started on this gnome. I've never made a gnome before, but I've always wanted to. So super excited, can't wait to see how it's gonna be. And I'm so honored to be part of this pattern test. You guys have got to see this gnome so far. Maybe I should have used chenille yarn, but check this out. I had no idea this was going to be so big. I mean, I really should have used chenille yarn, but I think he is going to be a great plushie to put on the table at my next market. So I had to pick a different color as well. It transitions into this light green color, and I had only chosen this one. So I went ahead and chose the light green for the hat And then I suppose the bottom part is the body. I'm just kind of figuring this pattern out as I go along, but it's a really well-written pattern, and I just think the hat is hysterical. I want to do this with it. I don't know if it's supposed to do that, but now I'm going to continue working on it, but it is going to be a big plushie. I can tell you that right now. I just finished another snowman, and I want to show it to you guys because it turned out so cute. The only issue I had was I think I must have used a bigger hook, although I'm looking at the one I used and it's 4.5, so not sure why it turned out so big, but this is the original snowman that I made. And then this is the one I made today. So possibly I stuffed him a lot more than I did the other one, but I want to tell you how I made his little snow hat because it's so cute. I basically did the pattern all over again like I would have the head, except I only went down until it reached the top of his eyes. And then I just did a front loop only stitch to make the little curved band that goes up. But I really like it. I used a velvet yarn for the hat, and I think it's a really cute combination with the red scarf and the red. This is just a surface crocheted red bobble stitch. Okay, so snowmen, I'm going to put these aside for a minute. My plan in the future is to make more snowmen because I think they are very, very cute. Okay, now let's talk about my gnome. I showed him to you before, but this is how big he is. I'm cracking up at this top part because it does stay straight up, but if you want to, you could like make it go over a little bit. But it's time for me to start assembling the part of the gnome hat that makes it look like a Christmas tree. So I'm going to start working on that. It looks pretty involved. I don't know if I've ever done anything like this before. I know it's like a slip stitch with some chains, and it loops, and then you slip stitch and then chain. So I think there's a lot of like all the way around it. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time working on this, and then I will show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. But he is just a big chunky guy. I'm cracking up. I just finished my first row of branches, and it was kind of tricky. I made a couple details that I'm going to add to the notes about the pattern, but look how cute. Like basically you're crocheting something and then you're crocheting over that thing. So it's almost like you're crocheting it twice. But I think the effect is going to be really nice. And now I'm going to go ahead and finish all the rest of the rows of branches, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. Hey there, it is the next day, and we are going to be looking at our troll that I finished last night, and I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about it. So this pattern releases on November 24th at 9 a.m. and by then this video will be out, so you guys can go out and grab your copy. The pattern is by Double Dutch Crochet Co., and I will link it down below for you guys. You can see that I finished his body. If you make a gnome like this, I'm going to give you guys a huge suggestion is to add poly pellets or some kind of weight at the bottom, because he's so top heavy. If you make it out of Bernat, or even if you made it out of chenille, it might still be top heavy. So I will, if I make another one, I'm definitely going to add a poly pellet pouch so that he will not fall over. I can get him to stand up, but it's definitely tricky. So one thing I loved about making this pattern, and really all pattern tests, is that it teaches me how to do something I've never done before. One of the things I've never done before is I made this star. The star is 2 stars that are sewn together. I made one and it was really curly, and I thought, oh, that's not going to work. How am I going to get it to flatten out? And then I realized from the directions that I'm actually supposed to make 2 stars and sew them together. So it makes this perfect little pouchy looking star, and then it hangs from the top of the gnome hat. And then another thing I've never done before is this Christmas tree. So that was really fun to make. It didn't take me too long. It was definitely an experience that I have never done before. Another thing I've never done before is I've never made a beard like this. So this is just worsted weight white yarn, and I used a metal brush to brush it out. And I thought initially, like, oh, this is not going to work. It feels like it's just going to pull the yarn right out, but it didn't. it made this nice fluffy beard, which is so freaking adorable. And I made his shirt in a mystical yarn, and then that same dark green. And I just think he turned out so cute. I just put a post out about him on Instagram. I don't even want to sell him. I want to just put him by my front door as like a decoration, because I feel like he is just the perfect little decoration for anybody's house. So that was a lot of fun. This pretty much wraps up Vlogmas Day 1. It was kind of a longer video for Vlogmas Day 1, but I wanted to do something really fun and extra to kind of kick it off. We also made our snowman card hangers. I want to make more of these for my December 13th market because I just know they're going to be a hit. I'm just positive. And if I had to pick between this hat and this hat, I'm going to go with this one. I think it was easier to make, easier to attach, a little less fiddly, and you can really customize all the colors. So thank you guys for hanging out with me for Vlogmas Day 1. You guys, we have 24 more days of Vlogmas. I can't wait. I already have tons of ideas in my head of things that I want to do. So I will see you guys tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 2. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and whatever holiday you celebrate this time of year, I hope that you are enjoying it with family and friends. I will see you tomorrow for Day 2. Bye.